Did Jay-Z pick Kendrick Lamar to play the Super Bowl so he could get revenge on Lil Wayne?
You gotta take the money. What I'm gonna say?
Ever since the news broke that Compton, California's own Kendrick Lamar would be headlining next year's halftime show in New Orleans, fans, artists, and commentators have been sharply divided. In one corner, you got people who were genuinely excited to see Kendrick make history as the first ever rapper to anchor the halftime show solo. But on the other side, a lot of people are claiming that Kendrick Lamar is denying Lil Wayne the opportunity of a lifetime to headline the Super Bowl in his hometown. But what makes this even more complicated is that Sean Jay-Z Carter is smack dab in the middle of this whole controversy. High-profile rappers like Nicki Minaj are openly saying that Jay-Z picked Kendrick as vengeance against his one-time rival Lil Wayne. So we're gonna break down the whole saga of the Super Bowl, Kendrick Lamar, Jay-Z, and Lil Wayne from the very beginning. What's the origin story behind Jay-Z's controversial partnership with the NFL? How has his company Roc Nation influenced and changed the halftime show over the last 5 years? And what's the truth behind the insanely complicated rivalry between Jay-Z and Lil Wayne? We've even analyzed all the reactions from major industry figures to the news that Wayne won't be performing at the Super Bowl, including a breakdown of Kendrick Lamar's cryptic surprise song, Watch the Party Die. And maybe most importantly, is Jay-Z's choice actually personal, or is it a calculated move from one of the industry's most ruthless hustlers? And what master plan could he really be hiding? First things first, how did Jay-Z even get mixed up with the Super Bowl?
I think people from New York are business-minded automatically, and Jay-Z don't like competition at all, period.
During the 2016 season, the NFL was dealing with a huge controversy. Colin Kaepernick, the quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers, was getting a lot of attention for kneeling during the national anthem as a way to protest police brutality. While Cap got support from activists, conservative outlets accused him of being unpatriotic. Things got even more complicated in 2017. The 49ers informed Kaepernick that they planned to let him go, and he opted to become a free agent. However, not a single NFL team offered Kaepernick a contract afterwards, leading to allegations that the NFL was systematically blackballing him because of his protests. These blackball allegations led a lot of high-profile artists to boycott the NFL, which was a major problem for the Super Bowl halftime show. Big-name artists like Rihanna, Cardi B, and Pink were openly talking about being offered the halftime show and turning it down because they wanted to stand in support with Colin Kaepernick. It also didn't help that the NFL provides no compensation for the show itself, putting all the costs of the performance on the artists themselves. All this controversy was a major issue for the NFL. The Super Bowl viewership had seen steady decline from a strong 126 million viewers in 2016 to 113.6 million by 2018. The Super Bowl is a hugely lucrative advertising opportunity for the league and its partners. It costs $7 million to air just a single 30-second commercial. Having superstar level artists as Super Bowl headliners is a way for the halftime show to remain relevant. Not only did this generate a lot of bad press for the NFL, but it also led to a lot of scrutiny of their alternative halftime show picks. In 2018, Justin Timberlake's headlining halftime show led to mixed reviews, with one critic calling it the worst in recent memory. In 2019, the halftime show in Atlanta led to a ton of anticipation that the Super Bowl might finally center hip-hop, especially since the city gave birth to rap legends like Future, Jeezy, Gucci Mane, and Outkast. Instead, fans got a weird lineup that featured Maroon 5, Travis Scott, Big Boy, and a SpongeBob SquarePants cameo. Critics savaged it as instantly forgettable, terrible, and soulless. At this point, the NFL was in trouble. Year by year, the halftime show was risking becoming less and less relevant and was making more news for who turned it down than who actually performed. At the same time, one of Colin Kaepernick's most visible celebrity supporters was none other than Jay-Z himself. During Jay-Z's 2017 appearance on Saturday Night Live, he rocked a jersey that read Colin K across the back. And in 2018, he released Ape It with his wife Beyonce, where he confirmed rumors that he turned down the Super Bowl.
I said no to the Super Bowl. You need me, I don't need you.
But then, everything changed. In 2019, everyone was surprised when the NFL announced a partnership with Jay-Z's entertainment company, Roc Nation. The multi-year deal solidified that Jay would advise on selecting artists for the NFL's music events, including the halftime show. Plus, Roc Nation secured a guarantee from the NFL that it would spend $100 million on social justice initiatives. This announcement led to a ton of criticism of Jay-Z. After supporting Colin Kaepernick and criticizing the NFL, why was he suddenly working with them? Colin Kaepernick's lawyer called Jay-Z cold-blooded, while Kaepernick's longtime girlfriend Nessa Diab said Jay's deal with the NFL was disgusting. When confronted at a press conference, Jay-Z defended his NFL deal, claiming that, quote, "I think we've moved past kneeling." Even though Jay was a vocal critic of the NFL's treatment of Colin Kaepernick, he seemed ready to turn the page and cash in. But would Jay-Z be able to deliver on changing the halftime show's downward spiral, or was this all just for nothing?
But you're dealing with a different group of people here in the sense of like, they needed the access to the culture.
In 2020, the Super Bowl 54 halftime show in Miami was a huge test of how much influence Roc Nation could have on the actual show itself. After all the blowback that came after Jay's deal with the NFL, they really had to put up and show out. Luckily for them, the show was a resounding, critically acclaimed success. Shakira and Jennifer Lopez headlined, and the show received a lot of praise for spotlighting Latin culture. The next year, Roc Nation secured the weekend as a headliner for Super Bowl 55 in Tampa Bay, Florida. The Super Bowl happened in the thick of the COVID pandemic, which put some pretty significant restraints on the actual scale of the halftime show, leading to some mixed reviews. But in 2022, it really popped off in LA. NFL and Roc Nation secured Dr. Dre as a headliner with an all-star guest list that included Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Mary J. Blige, 50 Cent, and Kendrick Lamar. The halftime show had its biggest viewership in half a decade, pulling in 112 million viewers for a performance that not only celebrated the West Coast, but also was the first time rap was ever center stage during the Super Bowl. And as an Easter egg, cameras caught Jay-Z himself watching in a skybox as Snoop and Dre performed Still Dre, a song that he famously wrote for them. Just a nice little flex. Rihanna might have turned down the Super Bowl before, but she agreed to headline in 2023. Her halftime show performance shattered records to become the most watched halftime show in history, with 121 million viewers tuning in. That is, until the very next year when Usher snatched the crown for the halftime show in Las Vegas. With guest appearances from Alicia Keys, Lil Jon, Ludacris, Her, and will.i.am, Usher pulled in a staggering 123.4 million viewers. When you really break these numbers down, you could see the huge influence Jay-Z had on the halftime show. Of the 5 shows he's been a part of so far, 3 of them rank on the top 10 most viewed in history. Plus, after years of neglect by the NFL, hip-hop, Latin music, and R&B have been in the spotlight since Roc Nation got put in the driver's seat. It's also pretty clear that Jay's been able to lean on his personal relationships with artists like Rihanna to get them to feel comfortable with playing the Super Bowl even after they turned down the gig in the past. In the years since Roc Nation's NFL deal was announced, Jay-Z has been praised for revolutionizing the halftime show. He's spoken extensively about the changes he's made, including streamlining the selection process. During a 2019 press conference, Jay criticized how the NFL used to interview multiple artists at one time for the halftime show's headlining slot, saying that it burnt bridges. By choosing and approaching a single headliner, Jay said that he's focusing on letting the artist be the artist. Any way you cut it, Jay's NFL partnership has been a huge success. So when it came time for the 2025 Super Bowl in New Orleans, there was a ton of hype over who would be picked to headline.
Let's think about this for a second. Lil Wayne, headline Super Bowl in New Orleans. How badly do you want to hear those words?
A bunch of insiders and influencers assumed that the obvious pick would be none other than Lil Wayne, who was born and raised in NOLA. Ranked as one of the best-selling music artists in the world with over 120 million records sold, Wayne is long ranked as one of the most influential rappers ever. Plus, with his very own label Young Money Entertainment, he signs superstars in waiting like Drake and Nicki Minaj. It's safe to say that a Lil Wayne-fronted halftime show would be a huge moment not only for New Orleans, but also bring a ton of top-tier star power to one of the biggest pop cultural events out there. But there's a big potential problem. Lil Wayne and Jay-Z have an extremely complicated relationship that goes back nearly 2 decades. Wayne has always been an avowed Jay-Z fan. He referred to Jay as the best rapper alive and himself as the next rapper in line. Wayne even has Lucky Me tatted on his neck in tribute to his favorite Jay-Z song. Wayne admitted that he considered signing with Jay-Z's label Rockefeller Records in 2005, but that Jay only offered him $175,000. In 2009, 2008, Wayne and Jay appeared together on the song Mr. Carter from Wayne's 5-time platinum-selling album, The Carter 3. The song was a major passing of the torch moment where Jay essentially co-signed Wayne's takeover.
Bro, I took so much change from this rap game, it's your go.
Wayne and Jay-Z would continue to drop collaborations together, including the platinum single Swagger Like Us, which they performed at the Grammys alongside Kanye West, T.I., and M.I.A. Even though Wayne didn't sign to Jay, it looked like there was a ton of mutual respect between the two of them, until their relationship suddenly went to In 2009, Lil Wayne's label boss Birdman, aka Baby, gave an interview where he bragged about Wayne surpassing Jay-Z. Not only did Birdman claim that Wayne was lyrically superior, but he also talked about how they were pulling in more money than Jay.
And so how could you be the best if you don't make the best money, the most money?
Jay-Z fired back on the song Ham.
You got baby money, keep it real with ain't got my lady money.
Not only was Jay sunning Wayne and Birdman, but he was flexing about how his wife Beyonce absolutely clears them financially. Wayne decided to take the gloves off in his song It's Good, hitting Jay where it hurts.
Kidnap your get that how much you love your lady money.
At this point, they went from squabbling over who had the bigger bank account to Wayne telling Jay he was gonna kidnap Beyonce and hold her ransom. That's a little cold, I'm not gonna lie. It took Jay-Z 2 years to come back with a direct response. On La Familia, he mocked Wayne for his kidnap threats, rapping,
Wanna kidnap white feet? Good luck with that, bruh.
For the most part, it looked like Jay didn't take any of this too seriously, because let's be real, Wayne is not going to abduct Beyonce. In 2015, Lil Wayne became entangled in a contract dispute with his label boss Birdman, filing a $51 million lawsuit against Cash Money Records. Wayne claimed that the label wasn't paying him what it owed him and called himself a prisoner to the record company. Wayne alleged that the label was preventing him from releasing his much anticipated album, The Carter 5. And that is where Jay-Z swooped in. On July 4th of 2015, Tidal, the streaming service that Jay-Z owned, released the free Weezy album. The album was exclusive to Tidal subscribers and featured brand new music from Lil Wayne. The move not only countered Cash Money's blockade of Wayne's release, but it also led Lil Wayne to declare allegiance to Jay-Z and his company Roc Nation. Nearly 10 years after Jay whiffed on a chance to sign Lil Wayne to his label, it sounded like they had finally inked a partnership together, or not. Lil Wayne's team later clarified that while Wayne did sign a deal with Tidal, Wayne hadn't officially joined the Roc Nation roster. Despite all the confusion, Jay and Wayne seemed to have repaired their difficult relationship. In 2018, Wayne shouted out Jay for helping him clear a $14 million tax debt and declared him a real friend. By all appearances, Jay not only helped Wayne release music at difficult times in his life, but also made moves to get Weezy right with the IRS. Even though they had a complicated history, it really looks like Lil Wayne was a shoe-in for the Super Bowl 59 halftime show. Earlier this year, Wayne gave an interview where he spoke about how he was praying to perform at this upcoming Super Bowl. On August 20th of 2024, Wayne made a public appearance alongside Jay-Z at Jay's reopened 4040 Sports Bar in New York. With the halftime show announcement on the horizon, this really looked like a preview of what was to come. The top-selling rapper to ever come out of New Orleans was destined to headline the Super Bowl in his hometown. And that was until Kendrick Lamar swiped it right under Wayne's nose.
Grammy Award winner Kendrick Lamar is set to pop out on the NFL's biggest stage in February in New Orleans.
On September 8th, the NFL and Roc Nation surprised fans everywhere by announcing Compton's very own Kendrick Lamar would be the headlining act for Super Bowl 59. Kendrick fronting the halftime show wouldn't just be a major victory lap after his battle with Drake, but it would also make history. He would be the first solo rap act ever to anchor the Super Bowl. But people were not happy. Almost immediately, prominent figures in the rap game lined up to defend Lil Wayne, defending that he was purposely snubbed because of his past rivalry with Jay-Z. Harlem rapper Cam'ron, who was formerly signed to Jay-Z's Rockefeller Records, spoke up saying that he hated the selection, claiming that there was one person keeping Wayne from performing at the halftime show.
It's not really a secret. This is payback.
Meanwhile, Nicki Minaj, who Wayne famously signed to his label, went on an out-of-pocket Twitter rant where she attacked Jay-Z for blocking Wayne for personal reasons. She also brought up Colin Kaepernick being blackballed for taking a knee, claiming that Jay took a payout instead of standing in solidarity. She even referred to Jay-Z as spiteful and evil, claiming that his ego made him block Wayne from performing in his hometown. Nicki's comments got so much attention that music executive Steve Stout jumped in to defend on Jay-Z. Stout claimed that Nicki was operating from a crabs in a barrel mentality and targeting Jay for opening up doors. Steve Stout even said that Nicki left millions of dollars on the table by failing to sign paperwork with Jay-Z for his streaming venture Tidal. Nicki replied on Twitter, clowning Stout by calling him short and stout, Laffy Taffy alien, and bald-headed bowling ball bitch. So let's be clear, Nicki definitely wants to smoke. Uzi Badass, another OG Louisiana rapper, called the news a smack in the face to every hip-hop legend from Louisiana. Drake, meanwhile, neglected to make a public statement but posted some vintage pictures of Lil Wayne on social media. It's fair to say that this is Drake's stealth way of showing support for the man who signed him years ago while also shading Kendrick. After several days of silence, Lil Wayne posted an emotional video to social media where he thanked his supporters but also spoke about how heartbroken he was to not get the halftime show gig.
I thought there was nothing better than the best spot and that stage and that platform in my city. It broke me, and I'm just trying to put me back together.
While Wayne didn't throw any dirt on Jay-Z or Kendrick, fans noticed that he also didn't defend them from criticism. Wayne mostly seemed to put the blame on himself for not securing the Super Bowl slot, but since he didn't show any support for Kendrick, it sounded like Wayne was okay with Nicki Minaj's attacks. But the biggest response out there came from none other than Kendrick himself. On September 11th, Kendrick dropped a surprise untitled song on social media that fans quickly started calling Watch the Party Die. While the song doesn't contain any explicit references to the controversy over his Super Bowl gig, the lyrics are pretty threatening and violent. Kendrick fantasizes about harm coming to various enemies, insinuating that hip-hop culture has become oversaturated with lying rappers and influencers who don't belong in the game. While the bars are pretty cryptic, Watch the Party Die sounds like Kendrick is fed up with the music industry as a whole and that all the debate over him performing at the Super Bowl has him riled up. Kendrick promises to get these devils out the way, which sounds a lot like he's gearing up for another battle, but this time his enemy list looks like it'll be a lot longer than just Drake and his OVO crew. But here's the real question. Did Jay-Z really handpick Kendrick for the Super Bowl out of spite, or is there a secret master plan behind all of this?
You know, I support whoever they put on that stage because I know it's going to be a great, 13 minutes of performance.
With all the criticism that Jay-Z got for partnering with the NFL in the first place, it's safe to say that Jay put a premium on high-level business moves versus bad press. Despite all the attacks, Jay hasn't bothered to respond or even defend his decision to offer the halftime show to Kendrick. It even seems like Jay may have anticipated the criticism and isn't bothered by the controversy at all. While rappers like Nicki Minaj and Cameron seem to agree that Jay-Z picked Kendrick as a way to slight Lil Wayne, the truth might be a little bit more complicated. When you factor in that Jay did make a deal with Wayne on Tidal and that Wayne praised Jay for helping him settle a tax debt, it's hard to imagine that Jay really has legitimate hate for Wayne. After the Super Bowl announcement was made, some of the fans started to circulate footage of Lil Wayne performing at events like WrestleMania. The comments lit up, critiquing Wayne for having an erratic stage presence and for sometimes sounding unintelligible on the mic. Recent reports of Lil Wayne walking out on his own concerts mid-show went viral, with fans pointing out that Wayne just might not have the temperament to do a big budget gig like the Super Bowl. Some fans even thanked Jay-Z for preventing Wayne from coming on stage. It's possible that Lil Wayne might not seem as a reliable enough performer, especially when it comes to headlining an event as high stakes and highly choreographed as the Super Bowl halftime show. Given Roc Nation's history of getting record-setting viewership numbers year after year, maybe Jay didn't want to gamble on Wayne not taking the show seriously. On the other hand, Kendrick has been enjoying a huge boost in popularity since his battle with Drake. As we already broke down, Kendrick's jump in streaming numbers, his Juneteenth pop-out show, and the Not Like Us music videos have all proven that he's riding a major wave, and audiences are hyped for his next move. By positioning Kendrick as the headliner for next year's Super Bowl, Jay-Z and the NFL seem to be guaranteeing themselves a piece of the action. Coming from the rapper who said, "I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman," I'm low-key betting that Jay-Z picking Kendrick was about the money moves first and foremost. It's not personal, strictly business. But one thing we can't ignore is that this Super Bowl pick has created a huge divide in the rap game. While Jay-Z and Kendrick Lamar are standing on one side, there's a ton of people still riding for Lil Wayne. And while the Kendrick-Drake beef managed to stay pretty contained between the two of them, this Super Bowl announcement really looks like it's about to kick off another phase of conflict. What I'm saying is the Kendrick-Drake matchup was a battle, but now we might see a full-on civil war. Will Jay-Z get his hands even dirtier? Are Wayne and Nicki Minaj gonna squad up with Drake and try and take Kendrick and Roc Nation down? down? Or will the Super Bowl in New Orleans be a chance for Kendrick to extend a peace offering and get Lil Wayne to perform on stage for his hometown? Only time will tell, so definitely stay tapped in, because this situation is only going to heat up from here.